Hello friends, in this video we are going to talk about fractions. So what are fractions? Fractions are number expressed in P by Q form. So 2 by 3 is a fraction, 3 by 2 is a fraction. What about 15? Is 15 a fraction? 15 could be written as 15 divided by 1. So even 15 is a fraction. But the denominator, see, in P by Q form, the P is called as numerator and Q is called as denominator. Denominator should not be equal to 0, otherwise the number will be said to be not defined. Let us see the interpretation part of fraction. If I have a pizza and I divide this pizza, I cut it into 4 equal parts. And if I have 3 of these equal parts, what does that mean? I have 3/4 of the pizza. So this fraction 3 by 4 represent this remaining slices of pizza. 3, the numerator will represent number of slices I have, and 4, the denominator will tell us how many slices the pizza was cut into. So 3 upon 4 represents 3 parts out of 4. Remember, in percentages we talked about how percent means parts out of whole. And even here in fractions, we are talking about 3 parts out of 4. So do they sound similar to you? Yes, they are similar. In fact, percents are special type of fractions with denominator always equal to 100. If I say 20%, it would be 20 divided by 100. Hence, it is a fraction. So let us see percent fraction equivalence in more detail. If I say 100%, it would be 100 divided by 100, that is 1. And in interpretation, I can say that it represents 1 full pizza. See, in the previous video, we talked about cake, how 100% was 1 full cake. Here we have an example of pizza. So 100% would be 1 full pizza. If I talk about 50%, 50%, that would be 50 upon 100, that is 1 by 2. So if I cut this pizza into 2 equal parts, and each of these parts would represent 50% each, 50% and 50%. So if I talk about one slice, then I can say I have 1 slice out of 2 slices. So hence the fraction 1 upon 2. Let's talk about 25%. What does that mean? 25 upon 100, that is 1 upon 4. So if I divide this 100%, that is 1 full pizza, into 4 equal parts, so each of these parts would be 25%, and one of these slices, one of the 4 slices would represent 1 out of 4, that is 1 by 4, 1 part out of 4. Next, talk about 75%. 75 is 75 upon 100, that is 3 by 4, and 75% is also 100 minus 25%. So if 100 was 1 full pizza and this slice on the screen is 25%, then the remaining shaded pizza represents 75% of the pizza. So these are 3 slices out of 4, and hence the fraction 3 by 4. So we are talking about the calculation part as well as the interpretation part side by side. Next, let us talk about 12.5%. 12.5% would be 12.5 upon 100, that is 1 upon 8. And in interpretation, if I cut this slice 25% into again 2 parts, then each of these parts would be 12.5%. And the total pizza is now divided into 8 equal slices. So 1 part out of 8 would mean a fraction of 1 by 8. Okay. And let us talk about 37.5%. So it would be 37.5 upon 100, that is 3 upon 8. And if I have 3 such slices, 37.5 is 3 times 12.5. So if I have 3 such slices, these would represent the fraction 3 by 8. So whenever you have to do percent to fraction conversion, what you can do is you can quickly do it in your mind. You can divide the number by 100 and reduce it to simplest form. 50% was 50 upon 100. It is a fraction, but you have to reduce it into the simplest form. So 50% would be 1 by 2. Now, what if you have to convert the fraction again to percentages? For percent to fraction, you divide it by 100. To convert fraction again to percent, what will you do? You will simply multiply by 100. You will do the reverse process. You will multiply by 100. Suppose you have 1 by 4 and you want to convert it into percent. So you can multiply 1 by 4 by 100 and the answer would be 1 by 4 into 100, that is 25%. Similarly, 1 by 5 would be 1 by 5 into 100, that would be 20%. So let us see this percent fraction equivalence in more detail. So I have this chart where all the commonly asked percentages are written and their fraction equivalence is also given. So let us talk about a few of them, few important ones. 50% means 50 upon 100, that is 1 by 2. If you keep this in mind, you can quickly calculate 25%, that would be half of 50%. So if the percentage is getting half, even the fraction will get halved. So 1 by 2 upon 2 would be 1 by 4. Similarly, 12.5 is half of 25%. So 1 by 4 upon 2 would be 1 upon 8. Okay. Next, 33.33%. You have to keep this in mind. 33.33 is 1 by 3. So half of 33.33 is 16.66. That would be 1 by 6. Twice of 33.33 is 66.66. So if the percent is getting twice, even the fraction will get doubled. So the fraction would be 2 by 3. Okay. Now 20% is 1 by 5. 20% is 20 upon 100. You can quickly do it in your mind. 20% is 20 upon 100. That is 1 by 5. So if you remember this, you can quickly calculate 40, 60, 80%. And next 14.28%. Now doing this in mind is a bit difficult task. 14.28 divided by 100. So I'll suggest you to remember few of these values. So you can quickly calculate the other values, the remaining values. If you remember 14.28%, then calculating 28.56% will be a lot easier. 14.28% is 1 by 7. Double of 14.28 is 28.56. So even the fraction 1 by 7 will get doubled and will get 2 by 7. And 7.14 is half of 14.28. So 1 by 7 divided by 2, the fraction would be 1 by 14. Next, 12.5, we have already discussed about 12.5. 11.11%. That means a fraction of 1 by 9. And 9.09% means a fraction of 1 by 11. So these highlighted ones are very important. I'll suggest you to remember these. They will come very handy in problem solving. So let us see how percent to fraction equivalence makes the problem solving process a lot more easier. We'll try to solve a few questions using these concepts. So I'll suggest you to pause the video and try attempting these questions, and we will discuss them one by one. So in the first question, 10%, it could be written as 10 upon 100. Now we have to make a habit of using fractions whenever we see percentages. We can directly write it as 1 upon 10. Now of, we have discussed this in the previous video too. Of means multiplication. So 10% of m is same. Now same means equal to. So I'm just trying to tell you how the language of a question is converted into a mathematical equation. Now is same as 20% of n. The fraction for 20% would be 1 by 5. 20 upon 100, that is 1 by 5. Of is again multiplication. So this will be 21 by 5 into n. Now we have to calculate m upon n. So m upon n would be 10 upon 5, that is 2 upon 1. So the ratio m is to n would be 2 is to 1. Again, now we have to find 28.5% of 35. So doing 28.5 upon 100 and calculating this further would be tough thing to do. If you remember the chart, 28.56% had a fraction equivalence of 2 by 7. So 28.5 is approximately equal to 28.56. We can use the fraction 2 by 7. So 2 by 7 into 35, this would be 10. Next, 8 is what percent of 72? So is equal to, now what percent, let's say it is x percent of 72. So x percent would come out to be 8 upon 72. That on further reducing it, it will give us 1 upon 9. Now if you remember, 1 upon 9 was fraction equivalence of 11.11%. So we can directly write x is 11.11%. So we'll see in the next videos, we'll see how fractions can be directly used to increase or decrease a number by certain percentages. We'll see how fractions make solving questions based on percentages a lot more easier. Thank you.